Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Public Health and Safety Committee meeting for June 9th. I can't believe we're already June 9th. I'll call this meeting to order. Roll call. I see Councilmember Sullivan is here. I see Councilmember Whedon. I'm here. We're all here. We're all good. Can I get a motion for approval of the minutes for our May 12th meeting?
Moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. We'll just get started right away with the Thurston County District Court update. Is Frankie on the line?
I am, thank you. Hi, everybody.
Frankie?
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Not too bad. It's been a while.
Yeah. What you got for us?
Not too much. I think since we last talked, the biggest transition that we ended up having was the City of Olympia and City of Tenino partnered with the county for court services. So that has been a focus of our attention this last year. In developing that project plan for that transition, our biggest goal was making sure that we didn't impact any of our other supporting jurisdictions, which I think we're really good in doing. But through that transition, one of the biggest things for me particularly was making sure that we advocated for those resources that weren't necessarily there before. I know last year, the year before, we talked a lot about probation because here 2-3 years ago, we had the budget cuts that resulted in supervised probation going away for district courts. So we had to do bench probation, which is basically if there's some non-compliance or some issue with accountability for any of our cases, we had to set a hearing and take care of that from the bench by a judicial officer, which as many can imagine, that could be weeks, months down the line, which isn't effective when we're trying to make sure that everybody's following the orders of the courts. So one of the opportunities that we ended up having was advocating, having conversations with the county and reestablishing our probation office, which we are able to do. So right now we have 8 probation counselors that are now supporting supervised probation for all of our jurisdictions, which has been absolutely fabulous. I couldn't even begin to say how amazing it is with all these people coming in, and we have them from such a great background. We have probation counselors that have come from experience with tribal, with juvenile, with other district and municipal courts. So we have a really good knowledge base within there. And that's all driven by how we do probation here. And I know that's one of the conversations that we had too, is what probation used to be back in the day and what probation is now, which is more of a supporting structure around that accountability. So we've really driven that as far as we all know somebody comes to court, there's the orders of the court that they need to comply with while they're with us. But we all know that a lot of people coming into the court have other barriers presented to them. And that's really what the goals of these probation counselors are, is finding out what those barriers are and providing the resources to ensure that they can be successful while they're on probation. It's not just a gotcha game. Hey, you didn't do treatment, go to jail. As opposed to what are the barriers that are coming up? Is it childcare, housing, is it employment? And we can start providing those resources and setting them up for success with the regular follow-ups. So that's been absolutely amazing, something that I wanted to share with you all. And even from data perspective, because we've only been doing, I mean, it's been since February, since we've gotten everybody onboarded, everybody trained up, everybody starting support, the community members that are court involved. And even within the last 4 months, we've already seen a 15% decrease in our non-compliance just over that short period of time. So that's really exciting for me and something that I want to keep a close eye on, because that not only reduces impact on the courts, but on prosecutors, on attorneys, on law enforcement, right? Because we're reducing non-compliance, we're reducing warrants, we're reducing recidivism, all those things that we want to see. while at the same time providing opportunities for success for those that are justice involved. So, I mean, already within 4 months, we're already starting to see a lot of good things come out of it. So that's something that I'll be keeping a close eye on, and I'll be sure to report back as we get more numbers over the coming year.
Hey Frankie, can I ask a question?
Oh, definitely.
I love the emphasis and what you're bringing. And this is Paul Simmons, City Administrator. One of the things we have two new council members, newish, I'd say they're 6 months in, Council Member Sullivan and Council Member Whedon. And so I was wondering if we could maybe kind of take a step back from some of the specific programs and services and just talk about the relationship between the City of Tumwater and the district court and the services that you all provide, just a really high level overview so that they're familiar with how our partnership works. I know we've been contracting with y'all since 2013. So that's, we've had 13 great years. And so it would be great to just make sure that there's a good general understanding of how this all works. If you could just do a little bit on that at a high level, I think it'd be great.
Oh, sure, absolutely. So yeah, in 2013 is when those conversations started, and I think we really started court services 2014. But what that looks like basically is Tumwater has their own violations bureau. So any infractions, those are primarily like speeding tickets or anything like that, will end up going through the Tumwater Violations Bureau. Everything that needs to have some form of judicial review ends up coming to us here at district court. So if one of those infractions, somebody chooses to mitigate or contest the infraction, then Corey over there will end up sending it over to us so that we can set it for a hearing. Outside of that, every misdemeanor or gross misdemeanor that is cited by an officer ends up coming to us. So those are direct filed with us. Those are going to be anything from a theft charge up to a DUI, domestic violence, assault charge, or anything in between. Those all get direct filed with us, and that's basically where that court service starts. From the administrative perspective, all those filings come in. We're going to do all the back end of getting those things filed, keeping the record of the court and getting it before a judge for those proceedings to take place, as well as providing, like I was talking about, probation services, also accessible through the contracts or pretrial services, which is another opportunity that's provided by the county, the resource hub, and any other supporting structure that we have for those that could be justice involved that end up coming to the court for those court services. I think that's about the 50,000-foot level.
I appreciate that. That's helpful.
Yeah, thank you.
Definitely. Also with probation, what we're looking at doing, you can tell that's been a lot of our focus just because we've been able to get that program back up. We're also looking at starting our own in-house programs. One of those is domestic violence therapies. So domestic violence treatment therapies is something that is really hard to come by in Thurston County, let alone our surrounding counties. So it's something that now that we have probation, we can incorporate internally. We already have our counselors going through certification training so they can conduct the classes. So we're going to end up providing that domestic violence therapy for those, hopefully starting in January. And another in-house program that we're going to end up starting is our victim impact panels, which is basically the teaching on the effects of impaired driving for those that come in with DUIs or reckless driving or anything like that. So we're really looking forward to being able to provide those in-house. And like I said, we have the resource hub as well. And we already have a really great relationship with them. Nate Block over there is constantly over at District Court, reaching out to those that are coming in to see what resources can be provided. And we're looking at broadening that relationship even more and getting something pulled more in-house too, so they can be on site more regularly. That can mean resources for, again, housing, employment, just getting a cell phone all the way through their contracts that they have with, I believe, Providence for mental health evaluations and things like that. So we're really trying to see what else we can bring in so those services are readily available for those that walk through the door once they leave the courtroom. So those are some of the things that we're working on right now before next year. Because this coming year is going to be a busy one. We're going to be starting to get into the plans. The county ended up purchasing facilities downtown with the intent to move the courthouses down off of Plum Street. So a lot of the work is going to start going into developing that site and what that new courthouse is going to look like. And less appealing to you all, but something that's going to be right on the forefront of my mind is our transition into a new case management system. All the courts across state, the municipal and district courts, are going with the new statewide case management system so that we can get rid of our system that I believe was created back in 1978. So that'll be an exciting adventure, if you will, as we start transitioning into that new system. But to be honest, that's really where the bulk of everything has been over this last year. Of course, like I said, a lot of it was the transition with Olympia and Tenino and ensuring that it didn't have impact on any of our other supporting jurisdictions. But the big piece is really probation and what that impact is on everybody that's coming in and the extended services that we're now able to provide. Are there any questions? I felt like I went through that really quick.
Anyone have any questions? I guess I'm wondering about getting in-house staff trained up to do domestic violence counseling. And is that the same as, would they be able to, I know that sometimes people have to be evaluated to see whether they need additional counseling. Would that, I know that there's a really high cost with that sometimes. That's a barrier to folks.
Right. And this is, so there won't be any cost, and this isn't treatment. It's not like a domestic violence treatment. It's more of a therapy environment for it. So where a judge may previously say, find domestic violence treatment, there's not a lot of it in Thurston County. There's not a lot in surrounding counties. There's barriers with funding. We now have an opportunity to provide something that can be just as successful in-house at a lower cost, provided by our own staff. So basically what ends up happening is I would categorize it as kind of like a group session. We can have 15, 20 people within that group session. There's workbooks that they end up going through. They come in once a week with everybody. They have their homework. They bring it in. They work through these work groups together. And it's really a facilitated group session as they're working through these issues together through a phased approach that takes as long as it takes to complete. So somebody can really be on top of their game. They can complete everything in a matter of a couple months by attending every one of those sessions and being productive within those. Or it could take 3 or 4 months if there's need to have a little bit more involvement with them. And the intent from us, because the only cost, and this is the best part, the only cost is for the book itself. But that's something that we're going to be able to support internally. So it really reduces that barrier as well. And that's something that we've acknowledged even through what we talked about before, as far as like urinalysis testing and SCRAM, the ankle monitoring to ensure that people aren't drinking. That's something that we've bore the cost over the last couple of years to ensure that financial instability or the lack of finances isn't going to be a reason for non-compliance. So that's really our hope with that program.
Awesome.
I have a question.
Megan?
I have a background in public health and prevention, substance abuse, violence prevention, but I'm not as well versed in the, therapeutic and treatment, and this far down the line. And so I guess some of my questions are about victim impact panels, and that is a part of a court order when people would need to do that. So as a part of their sentencing, a judge has said you need to attend a victim impact panel for DUI. Is that usually how that comes to be? And is that a common practice? Is it commonly ordered here locally?
Yes, it absolutely is. And one of the things that we've seen through it, because you have like Mad Mothers Against Drunk Driving, and there's other associations that have those victim impact panels. What we've ended up seeing is when the judge orders that victim impact panel, somebody may just jump online, right? And they'll try doing just a 20-minute video and turning in a sheet and saying, hey, I got it done. We want to ensure that if we're going to provide something, that it's something that's going to stick. It's something that can actually be impactful for that person. So that's where this environment comes in, where we can have that facilitator there. They can engage in conversation, and we can really make it more meaningful.
Great.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions for Frankie? Well, I really appreciate your time today, Frankie, and the update is great. I love that we are removing barriers for folks and helping in their success when they are unfortunately justice involved. So this is all great.
Absolutely. And thank you so much. And if there are any questions that come up, let me know at any time. Always happy to provide information.
Great. Thanks, Frankie.
Thank you.
Thanks, Frankie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next on the agenda is intergovernmental agreement with Department of Natural Resources for forest land response. I see Chief Hurley. Good afternoon.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. I've got a very short presentation here for you, so let me go ahead and try to share my screen. And I'm hoping everyone can see that.
Yep.
All right, so just on this item, first I'll point out it does say forest land, but really we can use forest land and wild land interchangeably here. It's just the term forest land primarily relates to the tax status of a property. That's just how it's. Some people put the property in forest land for property tax benefits that they have. So we do have properties here in the city of Tumwater that are actually classified as forest land. There are a number of parcels really scattered throughout the city. And really what that creates is a situation where we have some areas that have DNR jurisdiction. So for those parcels in forest land status, really DNR has primary jurisdiction for wildland fires on those properties. The city of Tumwater, then our fire department retains jurisdiction over all of the other properties. So what we're talking about here is essentially a mutual aid agreement. And just a few more details on that. Of course, we're going to respond to all fires within the city of Tumwater. Generally, we would be the first to arrive on the scene. It just depends on how DNR is staffed on any given day, but generally we'd be the first ones on scene. If our incident commander determined that the property was in forest land status, we would request DNR to respond, and they would really take over that fire, and we would support them if needed. So they would bring in an overhead team, incident command, and bring in the resources that they may need to do that. For the other parcels then, Tumwater will be in charge of the incident and request DNR resources for support if needed. One thing that this agreement also does is also provide for reimbursement if we respond to incidents outside of the city. And I believe I skipped a slide here. I just wanted to go back to that. Yeah, I skipped over this one. I'm sorry. And it just shows for properties that are in forest land status. If you go to the county treasurer's website, it just has an item at the bottom in the tax list for state. It's called State Fire Patrol, right? That's just how they named this this assessment on those properties, and that's how we identify which ones are in forest land status. Sorry, I skipped that one. And an example of a fire that we assisted on that was outside of our jurisdiction. This is just one example in 2020 with the Bordeaux fire. We were requested to respond, and if it ends up being a state mobilization fire, there is a reimbursement schedule set by DNR and the state fire chiefs for basically what we would bill DNR for our apparatus and personnel at that incident. So this agreement provides for that as well. It also provides for I'm sorry, am I still sharing there? It also provides for reimbursement.
Seeing your calendar, Chief.
Oh my gosh. How about let's try that again. Well, I don't know how I did that, but I'm going to stop. Well, let's just do this. Can you see that?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, so let's just go with that. We also have staff that we send out what's called a REMS module. Basically, it's the rescue support for firefighters on fires around the state, and this allows us to reimburse or bill DNR for those services. So I'll just get to it. The ask today is to place this agreement on consent at the next council meeting. Sorry for the hiccup there, but I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Anyone have any questions for Chief Hurley?
I'll go for it since I'm learning. So I guess this is news to me and lots for me to learn that there are private properties in the city of Tumwater that are designated as forest for taxation purposes, where we wouldn't necessarily be the primary responder, even though we would be the first one who would be able to show up. Is that essentially what you're saying?
That pretty much summarizes it. Yeah. Again, we work in partnership with all fire agencies in the county. And really, this just extends that to the State Department of Natural Resources and how we work with them.
That makes sense. Thank you.
And then, Chief, reading through this currently, there is not a current agreement between the city and the DNR because that expired.
Correct.
Okay.
It did expire. We'd extended amended the 24 agreement, extended it 1 year. DNR has been in a process of trying to revise this agreement, and they're not quite there yet on the new agreement. So they just asked us basically to renew an agreement that was substantially similar to the previous one. So, we said we could bring that forth and do that since they don't have the other agreement quite ready yet.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so any other questions? Okay, so the recommended action is to place the intergovernmental agreement with Department of Natural Resources for forest land response on the June 16th, 2026 City Council consent calendar with a recommendation to approve and authorize the mayor to sign. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you, Chief.
All right. Thanks. Sorry for the
Thank you.
display stumble there.
You did great.
You're fine.
Yep.
You did
Totally fine.
great. Do we have any additional or future items? I do have one thing, but if Councilmember Whedon or Councilmember Sullivan has anything. I'm just wondering next time maybe, and City Administrator Simmons, I don't know that if we've been lucky the last couple of meetings to have kind of light agendas, but because our work session is always going to fall after this, if we were to ever have a larger agenda, I don't know that this, not so much for us because we can just go to meetings all day, every day. But thinking about how staff is already going to be staying late and they have to support this meeting as well, just maybe we think about, is this the best time for public health and safety? And we can talk about that next meeting, but something to think about.
We've added
Yep.
it to the agenda for the next meeting as a discussion. So.
Great.
Perfect.
That sounds good.
Anything else for the good of the order? If not, let's call this meeting adjourned at 4:26. See you all in a little bit.
See ya.
Bye.